Yassas, folks, how you going? Busted in action, eh? I'm enjoying my tomatoes, the last of them. This is going to come out now. And so are these weeds, because funny thing about some weeds, we eat most of them, but not every single one of them. Well, I don't like that one. And what we've got here, and today's topic is eggplant. Let me just put my tomato down. By the way, folks, this is very, very, very tasty, juicy, and delicious. And I'm going to enjoy that one there. That one doesn't need any salt. All right, topic on eggplants. Have a look at this. This has leaned over. Now, this is the one, if I can remind you what we had here. We had the bubble wrap around this, protecting the eggplant so that we don't get the high winds and all those cold days coming through. But it's all blown off now, and this is at the end of the season. And I want to keep this going through till next springtime, so we don't get confused with what's going on here. Just move that out of the way for a second like that. It's hanging over the side, and we're still producing eggplants. Have a look. Still going on. So late in the season. And the thing about the eggplant is you don't have to rip it out. And you don't prune it now. This is the wrong time to be pruning your eggplant. So if you've got eggplants that are still active like this one here is, I've got to stake this one up, get it inside the boundary, and leave it alone. If it gets cold in the winter nights, or it gets, the forecast is to be 6 degrees and under and things like that at night, bubble wrap it again. So that's what I've got to do here, is actually protect it. Pull out the tomato plant. I might put some leafy greens in here, but leave the eggplants in here as they are, unpruned, and if anything, a bit of plastic over the top to stop the frost from landing on it. This is still active. We've still got flowers coming on, so it's unusual for it to be going this long into the season of autumn or autumn season, because it does go dormant. Now, this will go dormant over the winter period. You don't cut it back. It may drop some, if not all of its leaves, and you'll find, let me show you the discoloration. It's happening on this one down there. So they'll just discolor like this a little bit. A few of them, especially down the bottom. Here we go. Just look over here, Vasily. There's plenty down here. So just remove all those discolored leaves from the bottom. You may get a few snails and slugs attacking it as well, because they do love it, especially during the cooler months. And protect it with a little bit of snail bait, something friendly like our Eco Eradicate. That's a nice snail bait, but this is a raised bed, so we're pretty safe from wildlife and animals eating it. Now, protect it with a bit of plastic. Do not prune it, and wait for it to slow down. This doesn't look like it's going to slow down in growing. And when that happens, you know the plant's gone dormant. Again, you do not prune it when it goes dormant. You wait until around August. And I expect this to start kicking on even further around August this year, later this year, just before springtime. And what I mean by noticing that new growth is just like you see here. See this new growth coming on here? That's what you'll notice late winter coming into springtime. And when you see that, it's an indicator to tell you that the sap is flowing through the plant once again. And that means you can prune it back safely. And why we do it then is because you need the sap flow to ensure that it heals any open wounds you create by pruning. If you don't have the sap flowing and you prune it, it's susceptible to getting dieback, a bit of canker developing. So you cut it back here, for example, and it starts to die back. And if that happens, it will continue going through. And if you cut it back now that it's meant to go dormant, the likelihood of dieback is going to be very, very high. So you avoid doing any cuts now. Let it sit here as it is. And the same with your eggplants, because we know how long they take to grow and produce. I've been very successful this year with this eggplant, or 2 of them. That's all I planted, a couple. Actually, there are a couple more in there. But I only planted a couple, and they've given me plenty of eggplants, and we're still frying them. So protect your eggplants during winter with bubble wrap or another form of protection, providing that it still gets some light coming through. So you don't want to put them in darkness. And as soon as the season starts again, which obviously we'll talk about it, we'll prune them then and feed them up. No feeding now unless you want to try and grow it over winter, but you'll need a big hothouse for it, that's for sure. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com, for everything you need, heavily discounted every day, and at the garden centres near you. From me, Vasily, Maresi.